The T20 World Cup is right around the corner, and there's been a lot of drama surrounding it. But that's not what I'm going to talk about. We're going to talk about the actual teams in the World Cup and how I think they will perform. I'm not going to go too into detail about every team, especially the Associate Nations team, but I will talk about what they can do and where I think they will end up. The tier list I will use is the same tier list that Cricinfo usually uses for these kind of things, which is favorites at the top, contenders second, dark horses third, and long shot fourth. I do have a couple which will be in a tier between contenders and dark horses. I think Afghanistan and West Indies are some examples. But let's just get started with Afghanistan. Afghanistan ended off the last T20 World Cup in their first World ICC Tournament semi-final finish, and they do have a similar squad to their 2024 squad. Obviously, their main strength is their spin attack, which looks even more dangerous with the World Cup happening in India this year. Rashid and Mujib have spent years studying these pitches, and Noor was excellent in his first couple of IPL seasons. The top order looks better this year, honestly, with the young Siddiqullah Atal looking okay for now. Zadran and Gurbaz usually put on a show, and the lower order with Nabi, Rashid, and Omarzai definitely have a great chance of destroying some teams. It's a pretty standard team, honestly. The pace attack does look a little weaker without Naveen ul Haq and Farid Ahmed, but I feel like they still would do good. Right now, I consider them probably in the low contenders tier to the high dark horses tier. I don't think they are dark horses. I think that they're definitely better than dark horses. I don't think teams will underrate them actively. I think that their pace attack could be a little stronger though, and that they might need more pure batters. If Naveen was still playing, I feel like the team would definitely be closer to favorites. Their playing 11 would likely look like this: Ramanullah Gurbaz, Ibrahim Zadran, Siddiqullah Atal, Gulbuddin Naib, Azmatullah Omarzai, Mohammad Nabi, Rashid Khan, Mujibur Rahman, Fazal Haq Faruqi, Noor Ahmed, and Zia-ur-Rahman. Australia's next, and they ended up finishing in the Super 8s. They lost to Afghanistan and India, but they still had some pretty good positives in the last T20 World Cup. They had a pretty aggressive batting lineup and a pretty good fielding style, especially to pacers like Pat Cummins and Josh Hazlewood. That's really good for them. This year, they do have a pretty good team with a very strong batting lineup and some good young pace bowlers. Pat Cummins was injured, so he withdrew from the tournament, which isn't too bad for them. I think Dorshas can be a good replacement, and he also brings a left arm angle into the team. And Matthew Short is also injured, I believe. I don't think he withdrew. Personally, I would have liked to have another spinner who is more versatile than Kuhneman, but he's pretty solid as well. The batting lineup is still a beast, though, and that's why I expect them to be good contenders, but they could probably also be in the low favorites tier. They did lose 3-0 to Pakistan just now, but I don't think that's, they should consider that too much of a loss. I think they're just trying out new combinations. But I still expect them to do pretty good. Here's my playing 11. Travis Head and Mitchell Marsh opening up the batting, Cam Green at 3, Josh Inglis at 4, Glenn Maxwell at 5, Tim David at 6, Ben Dwarshuis at 7, Nathan Ellis at 8, Adam Zampa at 9, Josh Hazlewood at 10, and Matthew Kuhneman rounding out the team, being their second spinner. Now on to Canada. Canada has an interesting team this year. Obviously, they are definitely long shots, but they do have the chance to cause some upsets, especially against teams like Namibia and the Netherlands. They have a strong spin attack, which can tighten runs, especially along the middle overs, which is something that both Pakistan and Namibia struggle with. And it's not like the pace attack is too bad either. In my opinion, Canada has one of the stronger pace attacks in all of the Associate Nations right now, so overall it's not too bad of the team. England are definitely favorites to win this World Cup. Obviously, they do have a really good T20 team and have had a great history of T20 World Cups, but they're very much held back by their spin attack. Adil Rashid is their only spinner. Liam Dawson and Rehan Ahmed are obviously not bad options either, but again, they don't really have a defensive option. Liam Dawson is actually probably a pretty good defensive option, but again, I don't really consider him that much of a defensive option. And I don't think he's really want to bowl him that much. Still, I think Adil Rashid can be a good one-man army towards any side in this World Cup. And with the group they're in against Scotland, Italy, Nepal, and the West Indies, it's definitely a fairly easy way to gain some experience before the Super 8s and the semis. Their fast bowling core is also pretty good, and their batting is, as always, amazing. I don't really see much wrong with this team other than an improper spin attack. Overall, they're definitely favorites, but they do have some gaps that could be exploited. My playing 11 would be Joss Butler, Phil Salt, Jacob Bethel, Harry Brook, Tom Benton, Sam Curran, Jamie Overton, Liam Dawson, Josh Tongue, Adil Rashid, and Jofra Archer rounding out the team. And honestly, the next team, I really don't even have to talk about them. India's obviously a favorite. They're playing at home. They have the best batting lineup, best spinners, best all-rounders, probably one of the top 3 pace attacks, literally arguably the greatest all-format bowler on their team, and one of the greatest pacers at the time right now, Arshdeep Singh. It's just insane. And honestly, I think the players that I'm benching in this are actually pretty good. Honestly, I don't know why England isn't just buying some of these guys and then just putting them on their team. But I'm benching some of the best T20 players right now, which is actually kind of crazy. Kuldeep Yadav, Washington Sundar, they'd probably walk into any all-format side regarding their regardless of their performances, they'd probably walk into any all-format side. But they just don't fit here. I doubt any of these teams can even stop them, except maybe England, maybe South Africa. New Zealand did it that one time in the T20 series, but yeah, I don't really see it. But then again, if Abhishek doesn't score, Ishad Kishan will score. If Ishad Kishan doesn't score, then Surya Kumar Yadav will score. If Surya Kumar Yadav doesn't score, then Hardik will score. If Hardik doesn't score, Dubey will score. If Dubey doesn't score, someone else will score, It doesn't really matter. And on the bowling side, if Bumrah doesn't do well, Arsh will. And if Arsh doesn't do well, Varun will. And if blah, 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 Varun doesn't do well, then Arksar or Hardik will, blah, blah. It doesn't really matter, For the team to actually work, they have to drop Sanju Samson, though, which is not ideal. Confidence-wise, I just don't think he's there yet. I think if Tilak or Ishan fail early on in the T20 World Cup, they can still win if both of them fail, because Abhishek is the real one who provides the big match factor. Then Sanju should definitely come in. So here's my playing 11 for India. Abhishek Sharma opening the batting along with Ishan Kishan, Tilak Verma at 3, Surya Kumar Yadav at 4, Hardik at 5, Dubey at 6. Dubey can also play at 5, depending on the situation. Aksar at 7, Bumrah at 8, Arshdeep Singh at 9, Varun Chakravarti at 10, and at 11, I do want to keep Harshit Rana. He's also a pretty good option because he provides another bowling option. If you use Harshit Rana, you have 6 main bowlers. Then you have Dubey and Tilak and Abhishek, who can also bowl part-time. And if you go with Rinku, you do have batting until number 8, which you don't have without Harshit. I guess with Harshit, you'll also have batting until number 8 because Harshit can bat a bit. But I would go Harshit most of the times. Rinku's also an option, though. So, yeah, it's a pretty stacked 11, isn't it? I'm just going to go on to the next team. It's safe to say that Ireland are dark horses, but they are pretty close to being long shots. I don't really think that their T20 team has been as good as it could have been as of recently, but they still have some big names. Their spin attack is pretty good with Matthew Humphreys and George Dockrell making some strong statements, but their main hitters Paul Sterling, Ross Adair, Harry Tector, and Curtis Kempfer and Lorcan Tucker have not been in the best form. I doubt that they can make it past their original group stage, as I feel like Sri Lanka and Australia both outclassed them. Their pacers aren't looking too great though. However, looking at Sri Lanka's fragile bowling attack, I feel like there's definitely a chance that Ireland powered through the group stage. Their team is definitely good, but just not in the right form. Italy has made it to their first T20 World Cup, and obviously they still are long shots. I still want to appreciate this team though. Grant Stewart and Harry Manetti have made strong statements, and they beat Ireland's team not too long ago with JJ Smuts and Grant Stewart starring in that win. Still, again, they are still long shots, obviously, but it's surprising that they made this far, and I really want to appreciate them. Namibia, another long shot, easily. They're the worst in their group and don't really stand out to me. None of their batters really stand out to me right now, but Ruben Truppelman has been a gem for them. The left-arm seamer has been fantastic for Namibia since his debut, and he does have the chance to cause upsets all by himself. I don't really think it's enough, though. Bernard Schultz also deserves a shout-out, as he's been a good spinner for Namibia, and can definitely trouble teams like Pakistan and USA with their weaker middle-order strength. Nepal's a dark horse. They have the opportunity to beat teams like Scotland and West Indies, who are definitely better than them, but they do have the power in their team right now. And Sandeep Lamichhane can easily cause problems for the middle order. Kushal Birtel and Deependra Singh Ari have also been pretty good batters, and the latter has a good record as a strong middle order basher. Asif Sheikh has also been solid as of recently, and their pace attack isn't too bad either, with Nandan Yadav averaging around 17 in the last year. They also almost beat South Africa in the T20 World Cup 2 years ago and can definitely bounce back from that and use that as maybe a confidence booster. They really have a solid chance to make a name for them in T20 cricket right now, but they aren't playing against that many strong teams in the group, so they also have a chance for the Super 8s. Netherlands doesn't have much of a chance either, just because they're playing against the 2 Asia Cup semi-finalists, just like Namibia. Michael Levitt and Max O'Dowd have scored quite a bit and have also kept their strike rate in the mid-130s to low 40s. They've also averaged around the 40 mark, which is pretty good for openers, so not bad at all. Arjen Dutt and Relaf van de Moor, I don't even know if I'm pronouncing that name right, but they've done well too. And they make a strong statement for the spin attack, and the pace attack being led by Kyle Clean also doesn't look too bad. Overall, a strong contender for the dark horse tier, but more like a long shot just because they can't beat both Pakistan and India. New Zealand also has a pretty good team, and it's hard to bench some of these players just because they've made so many strong statements for their team as of recently. Their top order is basically complete, with Finn Allen and Tim Seifert scoring good runs against India. Phillips and Santner and Mitchell don't look too bad either. Also, Finn Allen was great in the BBL. Didn't even talk about that. With the ball, Duffy, Ish Sudhi, and Santner have all made big statements, and honestly, it looks like a pretty good team. They're definitely top contenders, and their bowling attack was excellent against India and Vizag. Nisham is also back in the side and can replace someone like Chapman if required. Rachin hasn't shown the same T20 potential that he has in both ODIs and Tests, and it's confusing on whether they want to play him or not. Clearly he's a good player. He scored 44 against India, and obviously that was a solid knock, but I don't think he should be in the scheme just yet. And they do have someone like Michael Bracewell who is fit to replace him. So, solid pace, solid spin, the middle order needs a little work. It isn't too bad, but I'm going to still put them in the top contenders tier because I don't really believe that they can lose to anyone. I don't believe they're in the same tier as teams like India, England, and South Africa, just because of the fact that they can lose Seifert and or Allen early, and the team basically crumbles completely, versus a team like India that can still succeed without Abhishek, albeit with a little bit of struggle. Anyway, here's the team I would go with. Finn Allen opening with Tim Seifert, Daryl Mitchell at 3, Glenn Phillips at 4, Michael Bracewell at 5, Jimmy Neesham at 6, Mitchell Santner at 7, Jacob Duffy at 8, Lockie Ferguson at 9, Matt Henry at 10, and finally Ish Sudhi rounding out the team at 11. Oman is next, and they're definitely a long shot. I don't really see much with this team. Their top order was solid in the Asia Cup thanks to Amir Kaleem, but he isn't really playing this World Cup. But their bowling attack isn't necessarily bad. Shah Faisal has been solid and a good left-arm seamer who can definitely cause trouble, but I don't really see anyone else though. Ireland, Zimbabwe, Sri Lanka, and Australia have much stronger teams. I think Pakistan are also genuine contenders for the Cup though. They have a strong top order, an okay middle order, and a good spin and pace stack. The problem is their finishers aren't that great. They only really have Shadab Khan as their finisher, and I guess, Shaheen Afridi. He's batting better than he's bowling at the moment though. I feel like the real cause for concern with this team is the form. Saib Ayub, Saib Salah Fernan, and Abrar Ahmed are only the real ones who are actually in form on this team. I don't get why Haris Rauf isn't playing because he had a really good BBL, and also no Mohamed Haris. They had the Asia Cup, they had huge success in the Asia Cup, and they didn't learn anything from it. They still do have an okay team though. Shahab Zada Firhan and Saim Ayub should open up the batting. Babar Azam should bat at 3, Salman Aga at 4, Usman Khan at 5, Shadab Khan at 6, Mohammad Nawaz at 7, or if they need more or extra batting, they should probably play Fakhar Zaman, but Mohammad Nawaz is actually pretty good. Fahim Ashraf at 8, Shaheen Shah Afridi at 9, Naseem Shah at 10, and Abrar Ahmed at 11. Scotland did pretty well last year despite not making it past the group stage. Their current strength is their top order with George Munsey, Richie Barrington, and Brendan McMullen. On the bowling side, they don't have much, but Michael Leask is doing great, and Brad Curry has shown a lot of potential, averaging just 12 in 17 internationals. I don't really see much with the spin bowling, as Mark Watt is their only real spinner. The team hasn't had the best T24. They've come close in some matches thanks to effort by Munsey and Barrington, but they've still lost to lower tier countries like Italy. So I think it's a long shot even for the Super 8s. South Africa seem like favorites for the T20 World Cup, just like India. They're runners-up in the last edition, and their main strength is their menacing pace attack and their top 5. This year I feel like they're just missing some spin power. In 2024, they had someone like Tabrez Shamsi who could get them out of sticky situations, like versus Nepal. But this year, they only have Linde and Maharaj due to problems with Shamsi's contract. However, I still think that Jansen, Rabada, and Norkia make up for this. Norkia is literally one of the best T20 World Cup bowlers of all time, and I think it's hard to deny that South Africa are definitely favorites for this World Cup. Even if the pace attack isn't good enough, the top 5 is still amazing. Anyway, here's the 11 I would go with. Quinton de Kock opening the batting along with Ryan Rickleton, Aiden Markram at 3, Dual Brevis at 4, Tristan Stubbs at 5, David Miller at 6, George Linde at 7, Marco Jensen at 8, Keshav Maharaj at 9, Enric Norkia at 10, and finally Kagiso Rabada at 11. Next, we have the United Arab Emirates, who have not had the best of weeks leading up to the World Cup. They had a 1 win in the Asia Cup against Oman, and were bad against both India and Pakistan. I'll still out them as dark horses, though. Their batting definitely has the power to make some pace attacks be surprised with Wasim and Sharafu. With their pacers, they can also overwhelm opposing batters, especially New Zealand and Afghanistan. I don't really think they can make it to the Super 8s, but they can at least highlight some concerns for teams in Group D. The United States is next, and they had a fairly good T20 World Cup 2024, upsetting Pakistan at the group stage and finishing in the Super 8s. They had a fairly strong pace attack while their batting was rather lackluster. This year, I think they're going to be dark horses again. Last time, they had a pretty good chance against India, but had a very slow over rate, so they were given a penalty of 5 runs, which in a low-scoring game like the one they were playing, can go a long way. Harmeet Singh and Noshlus Kenjige also made a tight spin attack and can make it hard to score, especially for batters who need time to settle in. This honestly goes really well into Pakistan's batting lineup. They'll definitely cause some struggles for a team like Pakistan and Namibia, but I don't really see them making it into the Super 8s. Probably in the low dark horses tier to like high long shot tier. The West Indies is a confusing team. Right now they lack consistency in their bowling and batting, but somehow they do still have consistent players like Shai Hope. I think the bowling attack is the main thing bringing the team down, though. Don't get me wrong, the batting lineup has its flaws too, but the bowling is just a chunk worse. They actually have some really good spinners, though. Gudakesh Motier, Roston Chase, and Akil Hussain have all been solid with the ball for West Indies and in the CPL, and for Akil Hussain, he's been a part of a lot of other T20 leagues that have been pretty good for him and for getting experience. Even Romario Shepherd and Jason Holder aren't too bad either with the ball, making a good pace attack, and also, with that, a good finishing lineup. Shimron Hetmeyer and Shai Hope have been standout performance with the bat. Shai Hope scoring a lot of T20 international runs at a good rate in the last 2 years. Overall, I think the playing 11 is solid, but I don't think they will be genuine contenders for the World Cup. Teams like England, South Africa, Australia, New Zealand, India, obviously, I've classed them right now. But I don't really want to write them off too easily because they are still a pretty good team. I would put them at the bottom of the contenders tier or top of the dark horses tier. I would suggest this playing 11 for them. Shai Hope will open up the batting with Johnson Charles, Shimron Hetmeyer at 3, Rav Matala at 4, Roston Chase at 5, Romario Shepherd at 6, Jason Holder at 7, Gudakesh Motier at 8, Akil Hussain at 9. Honestly, Gudakesh Motier and Akil Hussain could bat higher because they're actually pretty good batters as well. Samar Joseph is also a capable batter, but he should be at 10. Jaden Seals at 11. That's a pretty good team, honestly. It's like, there's a lot of batting strength in that team. I think they bat all the way to 10. All three of those guys are capable batters. I don't think Jaden Seals is that capable. Oh no, he has batted a bit in Test cricket. I think he's hit a couple of big sixes. Maybe, I don't know. At this time, you probably noticed that I've been going in alphabetical order, and I missed one team because they haven't even released their squad yet. It's Sri Lanka. Their top order is pretty solid, honestly. Both Mendes and Nissanka can play good anchor-like knocks while also striking at 140-ish. And Mishara has also shown some good potential, and Pereira has also improved his strike rate in the last couple of years. Dasun Shanaka and Bernardo Hasaranga are both pretty good finishers and are two good options with the ball as well. Obviously, Hasaranga being a tier above Shanaka, but, they're still pretty good options. Chadit Asalanka can bat as a number 5 anchor, but again, he's not that good in T20 internationals. They have a solid pace attack and a versatile spin attack as well, with Tikshna, Hasaranga, and Welalage all being very different in their approach. Also, they're going to be playing a home World Cup, so we know how bad these pitches can be for batters. I don't really see much bad with this team other than the fact that other teams are just a tier above in my opinion. It's not like the players are bad, I think they can just improve a bit. Bishara and Nissanka can get stuck at times, and so can Asalanka and Shanaka. I wouldn't really call them dark horses, but I wouldn't call them contenders either, kind of similar to the West Indies. They're just kind of in the middle there. Here's the playing 11 I would give them though. Patam Nisanka and Kamil Mishara opening the batting with Kusal Mendes at 3, Kushal Perera at 4, Dashan Shadaka at 5, Charita Salaga at 6, Wandu Hasaraga at 7, Walalage at 8, Patirana at 9, Dikshara at 10, and finally Ishad Waliga to round out the team. And finally, here we are. Last team, Zimbabwe. I don't think they're the least, last but not the least, you know? I would consider them dark horses. They haven't had their best of the years in T20 Internationals in 2025, but Brad Evans, Brian Bennett, Richard Grava, and Shikandar Raza have been excellent. I don't really see much with the spin, but their pace is actually pretty good. The batting is okay, not that many good players, but Shikandar Raza and Brian Bennett are pretty solid. They can upset teams like Sri Lanka, but I think that Sri Lanka's spinners are just too good for their batters. I doubt that they can go into the Super 8s, but Brian Bennett can definitely cause trouble for some teams. But they're still either I don't really know whether to consider them long shots or dark horses. I feel like I'm going to go long shots for now. So, final thoughts. My top 4 for the semifinals are India, South Africa, England, and Australia. My prediction is that the highest wicket taker and highest run scorer are going to be either Adil Rashid or Arshdeep Singh for the highest wicket taker, and Abhishek Sharma for the highest run scorer. I think the player of the tournament will be Hardik Pandya this time. Honestly, I feel like he should have won in 2024, but I feel like 2026 is going to be his year. Abhishek Sharma as well is another candidate, but I feel like Hardik is just a little better. And finally, I think that India will win the T20 World Cup. Obviously, because have you seen their team? Man, it's just so much better than all the other teams. We saw them play against England, I think, early last year before the Champions Trophy or after the Champions Trophy. I don't remember. We saw them play last year, almost like a year after. Yeah, almost like an exact. It's almost like an exact year since then, and they've been that was fresh. Well, not really fresh. It was pretty much their first T20s after the T20 World Cup, and it was just absolutely insane. And they were still playing so well. And now they're just got a tier above that, especially after that Asia Cup. Because in that Asia Cup they proved that they could win without Abhishek as well. But that I need to make this a separate video. This is probably gonna be next week's video. This is a 30-minute recording. Is this my box? Yeah, I got new headphones. But yeah. India will win the T20 World Cup. That's it for today. Obviously, see you guys later.